type something in chat because I don't want to explain this
I'm
multiple
here,
times.
guys.
Cool.
Attempt.
You can just type in chat, just put like a period. Cool. All right. So the first thing from a defensive, well, I'll go over O and D here too because obviously I'm not trying to hide anything from offense. Y'all are going to know exactly how we play this, and this is how a lot of organized defenses are going to kind of in general approach A7. So this area, cutting off this wall, is very important to either make the offense use a ton of reps to win it or inflict a ton of damage. This whole area right here is where you can just completely stop an A7 run. And usually what I want is I want EB. Obviously, I want us to focus as soon as they come in. Don't concede any areas. Let them immediately come into fire. But we're not trying to fight over anything here. Just get call, EB, shotgun. And I want both EBs and A7 to be cutting this corner, basically being fired at that angle. So that if we're really trying to force them wide here, because the more we can force them wide, we're forcing them into more heavy fire. The other thing is I want call to already be ready. Like, obviously don't just be firing over here if literally all of them are deciding to stay in a line right there. Jesus Christ. If they're just, I want call to be in this area so that they're not going to run into double EB. That's just not going to happen. They're going to be going wide, and I want call to already be on top of them, and then to adjust EB as they go wide. But I want it to start off here. So that does two things. I also want AC firing right on top of that angle. I do not want them having this angle right here. I want my shotgun inf on this side. This would be Hearth in this instance. Yeah, I do too, Joe. And after some shotgun, if you see anybody getting blasted by EB, what I used to love to do is just an RG straight down that line. And as soon as they start panic moving over to that side Hearth, I want to frag there because A7, it just nice metal. It just gets bounced and gets obliterated. I don't necessarily for today want us worrying about fighting over these lower boxes. If we get really good with chemistry and repping for each other, I think that we can mess with this. But with double geysers not being a thing anymore, this is a really hard area to hold on that first push up. So I just want us playing this area hard. Once they start going wide, we're going to start going here, backing up. Again, I don't want us using these boxes unless we get trapped. So real quick, and I'll go from an offensive perspective, because I don't know how much is going to immediately going to be gone over this. Usually to win this opening area, especially on your first few pushes, you need to coordinate at least 2 of the rep charges on offense. You always want to have a rep charge up for the very top on offense, at least 1. But to win this hallway, it's usually good to have like 2 OINTs consecutively throw rep charges, or else even through reps, you're just going to get eaten alive coming in this area. Because you're going to have dual EB here, call streaming here, AC, and it's just a lot to have to use resources to get through this little area. So 2 well-timed rep charges can pretty much win this initial area, which is really huge on offense. I mean, obviously anything chaotic or unpredictable can happen with a rep or what the fuck ever, but that's usually you're going to want to tell or assign your first 2 rep charges to EMS. It guarantees that it gets done to win that area. So once the defense gets around here, I'm not going to be super picky. I know Desi loves MML, which is what I want. When they get past about that little thing there, if you can tell that there's good drain, I just want MML opened up right here all day. I prefer it. If you're somebody that really wants to over rely on AC, I think we have Axidus leans a little more towards AC. I think Tactical's here. I don't think he's in the chat, but he also leans a little more towards AC. I'm not gonna lose it over that. That's fine. Hold on a minute. Did you guys want to leave? Hold on. I do want Tactical here. I did invite Tactical. Give me 1 second. Let me make. Anyway, and the other thing I would say up this hallway is that A7, the thing that makes it simultaneously easy but also tough if you're gonna take a tough death, is that this entire area up here is like a very much condensed D7. So you literally have to be ready with reps in this area. But I still want my engineer to be ready if they're home. The engineer is repping for the heavy. I don't want the heavy to constantly reposition. That's one of the other issues. That's one of the other issues with this base is that once they throw a lot of good offenses, what you'll see is that they'll throw their 2-3 rep charges and then they'll immediately look to get the heavy repositioned with grenades, right? That essentially is going to just let me get tactical in here. All right, I moved you up here. I'm just going over some A7 stuff tactical, then we're gonna get runs going. So once those grenades, I want the engineer to really be on top, especially in that first push of just making sure that the heavy doesn't have to stop, rep, or completely run, where he can just continuously MML. So I'd like 1 rep at least to clear him. Again, the heavy can use reps for himself. That's perfectly fine because the heavy is never going to have rep be like. I think that would be. I want the heavy to be last resort repper at Reds. So I don't mind him repping for himself, but I really don't want him repping when he's trying to get MML off in this area. So I want the engineer repping for him most on that first push in. The SG inf would be secondary. Call would definitely be last. I want tons of call up this hallway and EBing as much as we can. Again, GT and any medic, I know Dilator's not here, but any medic, once we've landed enough EB and we get in this area, this is where you can start actually landing tranks and winning this hallway again with like 1 trank. Don't get too carried away with it because we need to always be on top of kills and EBing, but that's pretty much this general area. Call just floats. I don't want you over draining like 1 person. It is really crucial to be switching targets up this hallway. And if you're being forced out, you can retreat out up here and continue calling. Do you have any questions about like this area before we get up to the boxes? Okay. So this is one of the let's get up here real quick.
Oh, I actually had a question.
Sure.
Sorry, I just remembered it.
Oh, you're good.
Infiltrators, holding that second choke, that seems literally impossible against an infiltrator on offense.
Like right up here is what you're talking about?
No, the other one, the one that you said to fight over at the beginning.
The very bottom one
This
down
one,
there, you're
no,
saying?
no, the one that you're standing at right now.
Oh, right here? Yeah, I mean, the infil's just going to rep you off of this. It's too narrow. You're not going to be able to... You're just going to try and time shotguns between reps as best you can against an infil, but he's absolutely going to rep you off this choke every time. You mean like an infil-based power offense or a flagging or anything? Just
Either or, right?
Okay. Yeah, they're just gonna win it. That's just the nature of an infil, especially a good infil who's not gonna take damage before he gets his reps off. He's just gonna rep you off that choke. But we still want to be in position. The one thing when an infil is here is we don't want to be
Over
like
there, yeah.
here, right? Yeah, because you're just
Yeah,
trapped.
you'll
Right,
just get
easy
trapped.
enough. Yeah, easy enough. So when we're here, hold on. Let me see, Kev, are you in here? Do you want to do it like now? Is that what you're saying, or just after today? You can message me if you don't want to. We can do it. Let me finish the explanation, then we can just move it like right after that. We're just gonna move arenas so it's truly private after I finish this explanation. So the other area, everybody come up here. When we get up here, part of the reason that I understand y'all don't like the ret setup, I get it. But I want my RT to immediately be on top of them when they come through. That's one of the ways. I'm not going to let them just occupy this space. The heavy is going to be at an angle where he should be always having an angle down there. I always want to force a power offense to get high to have complete good angle over the sentries. If they want to stop here, like when you critique and say, oh, well, look at how easy this angle is. Well, that's great. If they have an angle on the sentries, our entire defense should have an angle on them, right? He's not just going to be able to post up. We should have grenade angles on him to move him, and any chip damage they take before they've even truly exposed themselves to the turrets is a win for us. Again, I get the critique there, but like that shouldn't be happening. And I also am not against this early run would be tough, but I'm not against Hearth right now, playing a little bit of the top box to see if you can apply pressure to force them up. That's the other thing. We want them to make a decision between sitting there and trying to take sentries down and taking free damage. I also, yeah, 1 second metal. The other problem, the reason I'm not going to be too rigid in the A7 run, I'm going to let y'all fill out how to play these boxes. These boxes are really, really tough to play. I played them with Jake Will back in the double Geysers day, but those don't exist. So it's very hard with an SL that's on top of you to play these boxes consistently. You must have 1 Energizer, a rep charge, and at least a rep to get out of a hairy situation, and you need to communicate it to your defense. I also would not play those boxes every single run because when an SO gets smart, if you're P6, you're just instantly dead up there. I'm gonna kind of call it if I feel like it's okay for a while. Also, I don't mind Hearth calling it if he decides to play up there, but it needs to be communicated. Like, gonna play boxes, have a rep charge. That way, if the OMs are going to beeline for you, you can rep charge out of here and maybe get a rep from your other inf or engineer out of that situation. Because if you get trapped and die, it's just rough. But outside of that, I want to play this very standard. What that means is we back up here and we're playing right at the choke, right? We're constantly applying fire. We're letting the heavy AC MML. We're EBing. We're trying to force them to get up here. The first reps, because we really just are going to wait for them to come up. I don't think they're going to be able to occupy here as well. We'll see, though. They're usually going to try and rep charge and take that and take that. And what I want to do is call to constantly be firing. I want call to generally be in this position high, so that the heavy will also have a direct call angle, just basically on top of whoever's being drained. And I want the shotgun inf here. The shotgun inf is kind of on a clear duty, so when they try and hide here, he'll have a decent angle to try and get here, and he'll have a decent angle to flush them out here, and you're the first repper, okay, when you get into this spot. Since engineer had the first duty in the hallway on the heavy, you're the first repper. Then if, like, let's say engineer's not home, he gets here, he can then rep out. Once we've repped that first few rounds and we're waiting and we're watching them, hopefully they've taken an RT, they've taken some kind of damage, they've taken drain, and we want to rep out just like I taught in D7. We want to rep out as 5 and clear nearest. The good thing about A7 from a defensive perspective is that clearing nearest is a lot easier, because if nearest is usually going to be there or here, and then once you clear that, you just literally sweep. And then you do it reverse if you cleared there for and you sweep under. The other consistent failure I see in OVDs and mixes is just people finally like winning the boxes, and then there's like one inf holding and like 3 people sitting here. You have to win back this choke in A7. If we allow them to hold this choke with a disadvantage at numbers, that's just really bad. And they're eventually going to put a lot of pressure, and something fluky is going to happen the more you let them maintain a choke this high in the base. What were you going to ask, Metal? Ask it real quick.
It was pretty much just about, their best OMF is almost always going to take this position because it's the tankiest
correct.
spot. It messes with the turret AI and stuff. I was wondering if you still did closest target and swept
Oh, yeah.
this guy first.
Yep, always. We're going to sweep that nearest always. And especially even more so if that's their best fighter. We want their best fighter to have that nearest attention and get out of there fast. But yeah, any questions? I think we're going to go to a new arena and just set it up, because I think that's A7's pretty straightforward, and I just want to see it live and correct stuff. All right, GT. After this run, Dog Joe. Okay. I chose the arena. That was from Kev, not me. That's the new arena. Everybody go here. We'll just set it up so it's just us.